Welcome back to the Pirate Republic. This is an audiobook presentation of Pirates of the Wild West, the first novel in the Storm of Time series, released one chapter at a time. Well, Blackbeard and Hornigold have been captured, and we now find them in jail, being questioned by Henry Jennings and Woods Rogers, as well as the Wells Fargo men. It's time for Chapter 20, A Fine Day for the Pirate Hunter. Chapter 20, A Fine Day for the Pirate Hunter. Edward Thatch spit out a mixture of blood and spit after being struck across the face he had lost count of how many times Woods Rogers had hit him while he remained tied to the wooden chair in the small jail cell. The cell was housed in an old building near the town center. Thatch and Hornigold arrived just before daybreak with their captors. They were roughly thrown into separate cells, and Edward was then bound to this chair with rope. He had been alone for what seemed like hours before Woods Rogers, Jennings, and another man he'd never seen before entered his cell and started questioning and beating him. His eye was beginning to swell shut, and he couldn't feel the left side of his face from the many blows the pirate hunter had rained upon it. Jennings stood in one corner near the door beside the short, stocky stranger with a heavy beard that was trimmed to about an inch in length. Jennings was looking on with a smug smile as Rogers rubbed his sore, punching hand. Thatch tried to smile to himself as he joked within his own thoughts that his head was taking a toll on Rogers' knuckles. The smile didn't form as it hurt too much to attempt the feat. "Come now, you sad demon. Tell us the whereabouts of your hideout so we can end your beating," Woods said as he looked down on Thatch. Thatch only spit again. This time the blood and spittle landed on Woods's boot. "You and your little crew took up with the James brothers, didn't you?" Bill Cooper asked. "We recognized them riding ahead of you. Looks like they don't much care for saving your hide. Didn't even consider turning around to pick you up after your fall." "No honor among thieves and pirates," said Jennings. Thatch looked up from the concrete floor at Jennings and said with venom, "You no longer callin' yourself a pirate, Jennings. No wonder their worst pirate sailing was you, bottom feeder, spineless, picking the bones of sunken ships like a vulture." "The good Captain Jennings took the king's pardon, as the rest of you should have done," Woods said. "And I never took an English ship," Jennings said. "Never committed such a traitorous act. Not like your lot." "Traitorous? Once the Crown decided to make peace with the Spanish, they abandoned us all in the Caribbean. No money, no jobs, no more letters of marque, no ways of getting back home. German King George cared not for those in service to England. He sits on his cushioned throne while we bleed and slave and die for his whims. That pardon was a ruse, meant to divide us." Woods suddenly moved his scarred face right in front of Thatch's. "And it worked. Pirate Republic. A joke. The idea that the likes of you deviant, godless men could form your own nation. Absurd. While you and the other captains met upon your evil, stolen ship to discuss your fate, hundreds of cutthroats were signing the pardon on the shores of Nassau. Your reign is over, Blackbeard. The time of pirates is at an end." The two men stared maliciously at one another for what seemed like an eternity. "Where were you taking the silver? Tell us where the hideout is, and if we capture the James brothers with the silver, maybe we don't hang you," Cooper said. "Go bugger each other, you bilge rats," Thatch hissed. Woods backhanded Thatch. "Insolent miscreant." "I'm sure we can convince Hornigold to give up the location. He seems a more reasonable man," Jennings said absently. Thatch turned a glare toward the man. Yes. Let's go pay a visit to Blackbeard's old captain." Woods agreed. "The man is tired and ready for a quieter life. He said as much after he signed the pardon when you brought him to me, Jennings, days before the Queen Anne's Revenge arrived in Nassau." "Liar! Hornigold was the architect of the Pirate Republic, the rightful governor of Nassau. He would never sign that rubbish," Thatch countered. "Ha! We shall see, shan't we?" the pirate hunter said, then led the other men out of the cell, closing the door behind them. Blackbeard struggled against his restraints to no avail, and let out a loud scream of frustration that could be heard throughout the hallway. Woodes Rogers happily washed the blood from his hand in a basin, while Jennings, Cooper, and several of Cooper's men waited. His own 2 Royal Navy sailors were waiting outside for Rogers to give them orders. It was a fine day to have the infamous Blackbeard in his custody. If he could hang him by sundown, this day might go down in history as his greatest of all. Woodes really cared nothing of the silver the man and his cohorts stole from that technical marvel they called a train. His only goal was to bring these dreaded pirates to justice, Blackbeard being the one he sought most to string up by the neck. Born a demon, that one. His father should have sent him straight back to hell while he was still a child. It's in the eyes, thought Woodes. He could see it plain as day. Woodes dried his hands on a towel and turned toward the men. That devil won't talk. Any more effort is wasted. We'll get the information we need from Hornigold, then I and my men will help you round up the remaining lot of vermin. Once that is done, we will be on our way back to Nassau with your assistance as promised, Woodes said to Cooper, who nodded. Nassau? Why not back to England? Jennings protested. There could be nothing there for us. It's been 150 years. Who knows if anything is left? Woodes turned to Jennings. Good God, man, why do you insist on speaking the impossible? Jennings looked toward the heavens in frustration. Why do you not understand? He turned toward Cooper, whose face showed his amusement at their argument. The year is 1873, correct? That it is, said Cooper. Jennings looked at Rogers to see if this had sunk in. The man only smiled, like Jennings was a child. It is but a simple explanation, Jennings. Many cultures have different calendars than we do in the civilized world. I have sailed throughout the globe, much further than anyone would have thought possible, and I've seen many villages where the inhabitants had no idea of our dates. Some only counted moon cycles, some kept no track at all. It's childish, really, to jump to such fantastical solutions. You've obviously been associated with these uneducated, lesser men for far too long. Rogers put a fatherly hand on Jennings's shoulder. Come now, Henry. Let's go and find out what Hornigold knows, then be done with this place. I hope you're enjoying this historical fiction book with pirates and time travel all wound together in it. You can find the ebook and physical books at my website, briancantrell.com. You can also find the second book in this series, Pirates of World War II. And if you're a fan of pirates, you can check out thepiraterepublic.com. It's a weekly newsletter that I put out every Friday. All sorts of great pirate history, events, news, and happenings. You can also toss a few doubloons our way by joining our Patreon at Patreon, The Pirate Republic. We'll see you next week. Till then, fair winds and keep a weathered eye.